Asking the right questions is absolutely important in sales, but do you also know the right timing to ask those right questions plays a very vital role just as equally as the questions itself? Yes, this is not just a theory but also a proven methodology, and this is called as spin selling, which is what we are going to see in today's video. Hi, I am Saranyan Narayanamurthy. I am a sales researcher, sales consultant, salesperson myself, and I love sales, and that is exactly what I'm going to teach you in this YouTube channel. So I run two companies, the Content Board and Landor Digital. Content Board is a marketing agency and Landor Digital is a sales consulting company. And today in this video, we are going to learn about spin selling. So without any further ado, let's get started. So firstly, what is spin selling? Spin selling is a technique that was first developed and published by a sales researcher called Neil Druckmann in 1988. Yes, you got that right. So what spin selling actually mean? Now firstly, if you're talking about Neil Druckmann, he's an author and a sales consultant who focuses mainly on consultative sales. Now, what is consultative sales? Consultative sales is a sales model wherein you ask question, and instead of saying this is a sales script that you got to follow, you ask questions and you create your own sales script as per the flow of the sales conversation, but just keeping in mind that you're here to consult the person, you're here to provide a solution rather than pitching your product. Yes, that is what consultative sales actually mean. You turn that sales call into a consulting strategy wherein you actually help them and thereby pitch your product or your service. Now consider the scenario of almost every prospect who comes to you. You're not the only person they're talking to, right? They are simultaneously inquiring to a few more companies, they're simultaneously talking to a few more competitors, and out of it they finally judge and decide to work with one company. Now what actually happens is almost all companies follow a methodology wherein they pitch their product or they look at sales, or the goal of the salesperson is to close the sales and not exactly provide the value. Now when this happens, the customer most of the time does not feel that satisfaction, or they do not get to learn a lot through these sales calls. But when you take the consultative sales approach, since you're already providing the value, since you're already educating the client, the trust factor is built right from ground zero, which is right from the first sales call. So when this happens, the customer tends to trust you. If a company is actually educating you and you get to learn more about it even on the first sales call, so the customer naturally starts getting inclined towards this particular company who educated them rather than the other competitors who are just selling to them. So taking this as the main formula, Neil Druckmann asked himself so many questions. So how can I ensure that this consultative sales process can actually become a proven model? So what he did was something very interesting. He analyzed 10,000 sales calls over a period of 7 years and he developed a system called the spin selling. Now under spin selling, SPIN stands for situation, problem, implication and need payoff. Let's understand what each of these are. Situation looks at where exactly the prospect is, what is their situation, and for this situation what are the problems they are facing, and if this problem continues, what are the implications, and because of these implications what do the customer actually need, or on other words what are the benefits that they can get if they are solving these problems that they already get and the implications are erased, what do they actually get. Now this is what spin selling focuses on. Now you might ask this question, okay, but how do I understand? Spin selling focuses on understanding. That is where it differs. Like I told you, the consultant who actually devised this system is a consultative salesperson. So he implemented this spin system into his consultative sales process, wherein the line of questioning or the process where you ask the right questions and you give them the right answers and you help them with the strategies, it devised in this way. So spin selling is technically a process that allows you to question your prospect in the very free-flowing way that you usually do in a consultative sales process, but just gives you a structure to that. For example, when you're just starting the conversation with your prospect, you start talking about their situation. So you ask questions that are more like, so can you tell me about where you are right now? For example, if I am selling a sales enablement SaaS platform, my question will ideally be like, so tell me about your sales situation right now. Are you generating leads? What is the quantity of leads you're getting? How is your salesperson performing? All of those questions. So I'll ask questions in a way that I can analyze the situation. Now once I get enough questions depending on the prospect states about the situation, then I will move towards the problem. Let's say for example my prospect says I am unable to generate leads, or I am generating leads but I don't think they are my ideal target audience. There is no intent, or Yes, they are coming in, they are my prospect, but I don't really think they are ready to convert. So if those are the things that my prospect is experiencing, then ideally I will shift to the next part of it, which is problems, wherein I would ask, okay, so what do you think is the actual problem when you do not get a lead who is not ready to convert? What do you think is the actual problem when you're generating a lead but they are not your target audience? What do you think actually happens? What exactly are you facing? So here's where we go a step deeper and understand more about their emotions, understand more about what is it that they are struggling with, and we understand it from their point of view. Now you might ask a question. See, if the lead is not from the ideal demography, we already know that that's a problem. So why should we ask it again? Consider this. When they say a lead is not exactly the target audience, that has too many meanings. Could be of budget, could be of demography, could be of the way to implement a solution, could be that the customer is actually offering a service and that's a prospect who is requiring a DIY solution. So there can be too many things. So always elaborate the problem that actually helps you to position your solution in a much better way. And once you elaborate the problem, then we move to the I part of it, which is implications. So this is exactly where we turn the conversation in a way that's polarizing. What do we mean by it? If you are saying, see, this problem is actually bleeding you money, so this is how you solve it. Rather, when the prospect says, this problem is actually bleeding me money and I have to solve it, that has a higher weightage. And that's exactly what your implication will achieve for you. So here's where we ask questions to a prospect that would say, okay, so you're generating leads, but they are not from your ideal target audience. So what exactly are you losing? What is the value that you're losing? Do you think your sales team is not utilized properly? Do you think since your lead generation is not effective, you are unable to engage your salesperson in better sales activities? Do you think every investment that you put on every tool to nurture is almost going to waste because this is not actually coming in? So you ask questions in a way that this is not offending your prospect, but at the same time, it is making them realize that they are in a bleeding state. And finally, when it comes to the last phase, the need payoffs, you don't really pitch your product, but you ask them, see, if I am bringing you a solution that is a sales enablement SaaS platform that actually helps you to do this, do that, and do this, do you think that is an ideal solution? So you just give them a solution instead of saying this is your product. And when they say, yes, this might be ideal for me, and these are things that I would look at, then you say, so in this case, I think this might be the ideal product for you because this is exactly where we come in. And then you pitch your product. Now, this is where spin selling comes into play. Now, why is this one of a good solution? What do you think are the cons of it? Now, almost every sales process has a pro and a con. If you think this is the best process and this does not have any disadvantage, you're completely wrong. So let's see who this fits and who this does not fit. So first look at the pros and let's look at who this fits the most. If you have a team who is readily taking up sales call, and if you want to train your salespeople and you want to say this is something that and you want to say this is the ideal success or closure rate I wanted to expect, then spin selling is one of the best process for you because this trains your salespeople to be intuitive, to be customer centric. It helps them to build trust, nurture them, and then convert everything in one sales call. So this is like a compressed version of your fast tracked pull marketing. So this makes this sales system very strong. The second is if you're custom building a product. If you are in a segment where you can customize your services according to your prospect, this is one of the best system and you should easily implement it because this is where you get in depth with your customer, understand their analysis, and then go ahead. Now, who is it not for? If you are in a one-size-fits-all solution, if you are just selling a product and you're like, this is my target audience, I just want a custom script and it should run, then this is not exactly the product for you. If you have salespeople whom you want to train on one single script, then this is definitely not the one for you because like I mentioned before, this follows a consultative sales model. Consultative sales model is when you consult your prospect and then get them on board instead of just having a ready-made pitch. So if you watched the video until here, you would know that sales is one of the most essential part of your business ecosystem, and if you're able to fix this, then almost everything else easily settles in. So if you want to learn more about sales, if you want to learn about how you can equip your business model, how you can strengthen your business sales, subscribe to my YouTube channel and follow for more because we are going to learn a lot about sales in a very consistent way. And most importantly, share it with that founder, entrepreneur, or a sales professional who you think will benefit a lot through this video because the more you share, the more conversations happen, and the more conversation happen, sales always gets prosperous. So do not forget to subscribe to this video and leave a comment on what you think about this video. So with this, signing off for now, Saranyanarayanamurthy. Let's close some sales.